Greetings! Welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub, and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. Or at least a YouTube channel that 16 people watches on occasion. We'll see. As always, we are looking for customers to come visit our fine bar. If you're passionate about something and want to be on a podcast, let us know, because this bar is all about community. And the whole video thing, well, that's optional. We are primarily a podcast first. YouTube is kind of where we play. And last couple of shows, we've had more visual gags. But then the trade-off is that you have to see Derek's face. And my face, too. So, yeah, there's that.
And my face.
And Carrie's face. Yeah. So, we're up to. Yeah, I know. And this is the SciFi Pubcast. Welcome to the good old pub. I'm looking around, and I'm seeing my regular staff members. We have Derek Beebe. Hi, Derek.
Howdy ho.
And we have Carrie Simpson. Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
Right. Carrie, I'm going to ask you this first, because then I have to go to Derek and ask him about the kitchen, or the galley on this show at least, and I'm worried about that. But, Carrie, how's your day going?
Pretty good so far. I'm still in my pajamas, as per usual, on the weekend. And I'm not going anywhere until tomorrow morning. So, yay.
Yay.
Any day I get to play shut-in for a while is good.
Yes, I can relate. Some home alone time is always good in my books.
Yes.
Speaking of home alone time, Derek, since you spent a lot of time at your home, how's things?
Oh dear, you really opened up that can of worms, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Derek, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm frustrated about Home Alone, though. I was halfway through watching it on Disney Plus, and then they yanked it out of the service, so I never got to see the second half.
I'm sure it's available somewhere else. You just have to find it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes, there's
it's those weird legacy contracting things. Disney probably could have planned a little better. But
it was just hilarious that it only existed on there for 6 weeks, and then it was gone.
Well, I mean, it existed through Christmas, I guess.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
But
I mean, there is something to be said about if you were concerned about having to take it off again once to fulfill contractual obligations, why not just wait until the contracts had run out? They might have saved some hate and discontent that way.
Yeah. You gotta wonder.
But what do I know?
What do I know? Yeah. Before I lose my appetite completely, Derek, how's our kitchen doing?
It's the galley today.
The galley. Yeah, the galley. How's the galley going?
It's good. Today I am serving colossal squid suckers. So what I did was I got a bowl of Tupperware and I deep fried it in batter. And then, obviously I needed the Tupperware bowl for the shape of it, for the suction cup. And I cooked it long enough that the plastic should be pretty chewable and swallowable at this point.
All right.
And it's fried dough, so it's delicious,
Yeah, no rum ration for you, Derek, okay? Wow. Yes.
Wow.
I can't win the lottery fast enough, really.
No.
Do they have the lottery in Canada?
Yes, of course they do. We're a lucky country. Okay. Right. My updates. I survived the holidays. Yay! Yeah, it's January. Yay! It's going to be my birthday in a couple of, a week and a half, 2 weeks. Not so yay, but that's about it. Mind you, during the holidays, I did manage to get a copy of, and this is probably the only Star Wars we're going to mention on this episode because we've been Star Wars centric lately, is the Galaxy's Edge cookbook. And the reason why I'm bringing
I got that last month.
Yeah, it's great. And it's great because there's actually a drink menu in the back for cocktails. So, I'm into cook food as well, but there's drinks. So it's highly relevant to our little episode. You can make cocktails such as, the Coruscant Cooler, the Dagobah Slinger, a Blurk Fire. That's the contemporary. I like that one. The hyperdrive, there's a bunch. Rhodian Splice, that looks cool. Port in the Storm, okay, I see what they did there. Oh wow, there's lots. Bantha Chai, now we get into the teas and coffees. Yeah. So yeah, it's been published since November. Go out and get it. Looks kind of cool because Disney needs more money. Disney needs your money, okay? And if you want to spend money, that just only increases the value of Disney stock, which I don't own currently.
Does it have a recipe for blue milk?
No. So, Joel, serious question.
Right.
If we're going to be working out of that book, does that mean we have to get a new kitchen that is, not one that is not touched by Derek?
Oh,
No.
maybe, but we have to put our local flair to it, right? It's all about, local, grow local, shop local, eat local.
Yeah, but we all know that Derek doesn't get stuff locally.
Yeah.
He just finds shit.
He can't afford not to use me because remember, my salary doesn't kick in until year 7.
Yeah, year 7 of the afterlife. Yes. Okay. Or before.
Was that
life.
a Randall Graham plug?
Yeah. Before life drink. Okay. Yes. It's like when there's a new bacteria that gets into, say, wine and makes the wine great, and they think that the wine is just terrible and it's spoiled, but then they have a taste of it. That's what we're going for this food stuff in our kitchen with Derek.
As opposed to when something gets into the wine and it turns to vinegar.
Yeah, exactly. I like to think I'm an optimist, and everything should be positive in life. I'm not a realist at all, if you know me very well. So.
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah.
no.
Well, you know what they say: imperfection makes perfection.
Great.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So we're 8 minutes into the show, and we're still on the food joke. I love this. Okay. With a bit of housekeeping, yes, we're still on YouTube, but this podcast is available on many apps, just such as Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and who knows what else is out there. So check it out. For our beer recommendation, since I survived the holidays, I was in New York State briefly, and I was in Pennsylvania briefly. And my cousin, dear old Heather, got me a bunch of beers. I think her husband actually picked it up at the store, so thanks, Thomas. So our beer recommendation is Trojanator. That's where you go. It's an independent brewery from Hershey Park, or Hershey, on Hershey Park in Pennsylvania. It's 8.2% alcohol by volume because it's a double bock, which means it's a dark beer. And the IBU rating is 25 out of 100. Now it's January. Things look like it's usually the weather's cold outside. I like a good bock beer, so definitely recommend that.
I actually went to Hershey Park for the first time ever this summer. Last summer. Yeah.
Did you visit the brewery?
No, I went by it though.
Okay.
Does Derek drink?
No, he doesn't.
Brewery's completely lost on him, dude.
Dude.
The monorail inside the park briefly goes outside the park and it goes right by the old brewery, which I don't think is actually operating anymore.
All right, cool. Who knew? I haven't been, so another road trip. But we're talking 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and other great underwater type films now. According to the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, more than 80% of the Earth's oceans are unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. Now, that's a whole lot of territory to cover in storytelling. So, in honor of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, streaming on Disney Plus, streaming, get it? We're talking.
Just remember, folks, it's free.
We're talking the 1954 film today, as well as a few other kind of related movies or underwater movies. We're staying away from World War II or submarine movies because that's a different genre. Yeah. So 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was a 1954 Disney movie loosely based on the French writer Jules Verne's novel, which was published in 1871. And the story happens in 1866. And this film is from 1954. Got the dates right? Yes. This film was directed by Richard Fleischer and starred Kirk Douglas as Ned Land and James Mason as Captain Nemo. Disney Plus, on its information screen when you actually pull up the movie, describes this movie as this. based on the Jules Verne novel, experienced the fantastic exploits of Captain Nemo, a genius turned bitter, who wages war from his nuclear-powered submarine against a country he perceives as evil. Ba-ba-ba-ba. One little aside, it notes this program is presented as originally created. It may contain outdated cultural depictions. I love that. I just love that. All the old Disney movies has this form.
I love that they have to warn people about this. Like history didn't happen, and these are things that never happened and stuff. And maybe we should warn people about it so that they have the option to just shy away from.
Yeah, and depending on the time era, we may use different terms or portray different people differently.
This is true, yes.
It does not make it right or wrong, but it's just the way the culture was at the time period.
Exactly.
So in this movie, there was a scene where they go to the shore, and there was a bunch of cannibals. Yeah, in the South Pacific. That's probably frowned upon in today's world. Yes.
Yeah, but also as I looked through some of the trivia, and apparently some of the natives wrote weird stuff on their foreheads and stuff. Like one guy apparently wrote "Eat it, Joe's," and the guy running behind him wrote "I ate Joe." Like, come on, that is awesome. Like, it's good to know that it's good to know that even back then the extras could get away with stuff like that.
I didn't know that, and that's great. That's just classic. I love that.
Well, also the pipe organ is currently in the Haunted Mansion ride in Disneyland. Yep. I thought it looked familiar.
Yeah. That was a key. Okay, good.
Sorry.
Of course. No.
Sorry, didn't mean to derail the conversation there.
No, not at all. So this film, of course, spawned several different Disney rides, such as the one in Disney World. There was a submarine adventure in California. Disneyland, I should say.
Disneyland.
And there still was the 20,000 League Under the Sea ride in Tokyo Disney Sea, which, of course, I haven't been.
I think there's one in France as well still.
Is it a submarine one, or is it
I think so.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
Yeah, this is like up until like the turn of the century when they sometime after the year 2000 they turned it into like the Finding Nemo ride, but up until then it was more like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You actually went to Volcano.
Oh, wow.
Well, the underwater part of Volcano, anyway.
Yeah. Are you talking about California right now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I know.
Of course, I'm talking about California. I've never been to Florida.
I know there's something in Paris. I think it might just be like a walkthrough attraction. Maybe it's not a ride, but they have something there. And they also have Journey to the Center of the Earth. Isn't that also Jules Verne?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. They have this really cool ride there. Obviously, I've never been to Paris, but I've read about it.
Yeah, I think there's something like to do with Jules Verne's, like a center or a restaurant or something like that. So that's a tie-in there. I have to get there. I've been to Paris.
I know what I'm thinking of. It's either Tokyo or Hong Kong, but they have. Oh no, it's Disney Sea in Tokyo. They actually have this massive volcano set. And they have a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride there. I'm 80% sure.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's happening. I think that's the only ride that's still in existence that bears the name 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Because the one in Florida at the Magic Kingdom was in operation from 1971 until 1994. So that's the one I was on as a kid several times.
Yeah, I have extremely vague childhood memories of riding that.
Yeah, go ahead, Kerry.
I always went on that ride because you got to see the sea monster at the end.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I just love the shape of the submarines, the design, the Nautilus. It's a naval thing where you don't put the word "the" in front of a ship's name, so Nautilus is amazing. Okay, and I just love that. It was so much, and in many ways, this design of the submarine and some of the ideas. you gotta think 20,000 Leagues in the Sea is a precursor to the steampunk genre. Because you look at it on that lens,
Yep.
there's so much steampunk going on, even before there was steampunk.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, not only
one
that,
fun bit of trivia about the ride before we move on. When Disneyland first opened, or whenever that ride first opened, they had actresses in mermaid outfits in the lagoon that would just kind of like be hanging out there swimming and stuff. But they had to take them out eventually because they were getting sick from all the diesel fumes and pollution that the submarines were putting into the water.
Right.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Completely shocked.
Mm.
Okay. Since we're still on that, the ride that is at the Magic Kingdom, of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention Trader Sam's Grog Grito and the fact that you can get a tiki cocktail called the Nautilus. Oh, Nautilus, I should say.
Oh, nice.
And I saw it in action. And the thing is, it's for more than one person because it's a big, giant glass. I almost bought
it like
one.
a fishbowl?
Yeah, almost like that. And you have these straws, long straws, and they do this whole performance. And definitely worth your while if you're at Disney World. It's
Well,
go ahead.
I mean, to get off the subject of Voyage for the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea for a bit, if back when they had the Star Trek experience in Vegas, they had the Warp Car Breach, which was like a big fishbowl, was meant to be drunk by like 4 people.
Oh, really? Amazing.
And it was lovely.
That's excellent. I just noticed I have no power on my computer. Oh well. So if you're looking for Trader Sam's Grog Grito, it's in the Polynesian Village Resort, just for reference sake. And let's see.
Also, while we're on the subject of the Magic Kingdom, the person who designed the interiors of the Nautilus also designed Sleeping Beauty's castle.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
In Disneyland. So, yeah.
And if we're still talking about trivia, at Disney World in Florida, the ride was closed and it sat. So I think Joel said it ended in '94, and the lagoon just like sat there for years and years. They never did anything with it.
Oh yeah, they did that with Disneyland too.
Yeah, they finally drained the lagoon and they built the Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster there instead now. So that's what's there instead.
Yeah, they didn't do that in Disneyland. They basically just kept the lake, or the lagoon where it was, and just kept it as home to ducks and stuff.
Yeah, and I know that they replaced the gas guzzling subs with electric subs for the Finding Nemo ride.
Mm.
I never got to ride that, by the way. The one time I went to Disneyland in California, the Nemo ride was down, and I was so sad. I was really excited to ride on it.
Yeah, I haven't been on the ride since they changed it to Finding Nemo. Partly because just the whole idea of it not being the same ride makes me sad. And I realize I should let it go, but yeah.
Let it go. Let it go.
Hey.
Yeah, that's quite the sea shanty. Yeah. And for reference sake, if anyone's interested to see what the experience was like on the ride in Magic Kingdom, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, there's a full POV clip on YouTube. You can look. It's dated. It's from like 1991, and you can tell that the technology is not great, but it's worth checking out.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video of everything at every theme park ever. It's really cool. Sometimes I go on there and watch rides.
Yeah, it's cheaper than actually going there in person.
Yeah,
I can understand that.
Especially if it's a roller coaster I'll never ever go on.
Oh God, yeah. I don't do roller coasters, and I'm not pissed. I'm annoyed that the new Rise of the Resistance ride has a 2-floor drop at the very end of it. So yeah.
Oh, 2-floor drop.
Yeah, that's just not me. I'm sorry.
Is it really that tall?
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, it's sick.
I'm still riding it anyway. I don't care.
The Splash Mountain is, I think, 2 floors, maybe.
Yeah. Joe doesn't do this anymore. Okay.
Oh, poor thing.
Right. But before we get into, that movie, 20,000 Leagues in the Sea, there's a few other little, properties out there that deals with the same thing. going down really deep in the sea, and bad things happen. So we'd be remiss if we just didn't talk about it briefly before we return to this Disney movie itself. Guys, have you heard of this little good movie by the name of The Abyss from 1989, written and directed by one James Cameron?
Yep.
I love The Abyss.
I love The Abyss. I love how the director's cut even further dates the movie and points out how close we are to being completely screwed.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, the special edition is so much better. It completely changes the entire meaning of the movie. It makes it twice as good.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't actually seen it. I haven't seen the...
You haven't?
No, not the director's cut. I saw it when it came out, right? And I probably saw it a second time in the mid-90s. But it's been a while for me.
You need to see the director's cut.
Yeah, it completely changes it.
Right. So the plot is that they're trying to recover a downed U.S. sub that containing nukes, and they're in this race with the Soviets. And then there's some sort of non-terrestrial life form that's involved. And yeah, it's more of a journey about being paranoid at death with bad things happening with people's brains, right? And mental stress and all that good stuff. Physical,
and the bends.
And the bands, yeah.
And the underwater filming that they did for that movie was absolutely incredible. I mean, when you watch that movie even today, it looks 100% real. It really does look like they're at the bottom of the ocean. And they actually did film inside this massive underwater tank. It was crazy.
Just imagine the pressure they were under. Yes, I can. That's a weighty topic. So there's that one. There's also a couple others. I gotta say, The Poseidon Adventure, it's not a sub-movie, but it's such a well-known nautical movie from 1972. Basically, a cruise ship turns over, and it's a disaster movie. Yes, classic one. There's a few others. There's a bunch of others. Some I haven't even heard of before. There's, let's see, from 1989, there's a horror movie called, help me out there, Leviathan?
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 Why do I
that one's not so good.
No.
I recently saw that.
No, this also, also from 1989, Deep Star 6. Apparently, 1989 was the year of, deep sea.
Cashing in on the Abyss craze.
Yeah. There's also Lord of the Deep, again, from 1989. It has 2.6 stars on IMDb. Oh, horrible. And of course, the Evil Below. It's just like, instead of going to space to meet aliens who will try to kill you, just go under the sea. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
You know?
Well, I mean, as you said, we know very little about, what you said, 80% of what goes on.
No, that's not me. That's the U.S. government.
Oh, the U.S. government knows. Well, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to get in trouble right now.
Fair enough. Go ahead. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, it's from before 2016, so it's okay.
Oh, God.
Right.
Right. Did I mention there's also another movie called The Rift, being on point? Yeah, from 1990. This Deep Rising, 1998.
That's I believe that's Stephen Sommers' movie that he made before The Mummy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is. The description is a group of heavily armed hijackers board a luxury ocean liner in the South Pacific Ocean to loot it, only to do battle with a series of large-sized, tentacle, man-eating sea creatures who had already invaded the ship.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good.
All right.
I mean, in a schlocky sense, of course.
Yeah.
Schlocky sense? Is that a technical term?
Yeah. I wonder if they hit the bar first, so they just waited in the galley and have food each time there's like a couple walks past. I don't know. Going on, The Spare, 1998. Then they get of course, the shark movies, right? So Jaws, Deep Blue Sea, all that stuff.
Don't forget the Adam Sandler movie, The Water Boy.
Oh God, sure.
I haven't seen it, but I assume it's like deep sea something.
No, it really isn't.
Okay, never mind.
No. But this is a whole genre, and The genre, I think, is trying to make its way back, which is we're not there yet. We got The Deep from 1977. That's not a pornography movie by the looks of it. Piranha 78, Piranha Part 2.
We did have the Meg last year, and that did have this big underwater research thing, and they had subs going deep down into the deep.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah.
That's actually a really fun movie. It's dumb, but it's a lot of fun.
What's the name of the movie?
The Meg, M-E-G.
Oh, I see.
Or
Yeah.
Megalodon.
Yeah.
Stars Jason Statham.
Yeah, right. I remember seeing that and saying, yeah, I'll watch it eventually.
It's a lot of fun.
So I've heard.
Yeah. And let's see. There's The Beast from 96, Octopus. There's a bunch. Below from 2002, Deep Rescue 2005. God, it makes you never want to go on the water, does it?
What about the Sharknado movies?
Oh, of course, is that? Yeah.
Of course, that's above the water, so I guess that doesn't count.
Yeah. And To the Blue 2005. Again, near the water, right?
Yeah.
The Reef 2010. God. The Cave 2005. Sanctum 2000. It's always involving like scuba divers or oil platforms or cruise ships. But what's interesting? Oh, of course. Guys, we forgot to mention the greatest film in our lifetime, okay? 1995, Waterworld. Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
I
Brutal.
love Waterworld.
Brutal. But
And the stunt show at Universal California is really cool.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I've heard good things. I never got around to see that show.
It's so insane that they're still doing that show today for a movie that came out in 1995. And they're still doing the show. It's nuts.
And apparently the show is much better than the movie was. I don't know.
I like the movie.
Right. Yes. I see.
Oh, and not only that, but they're building a new Universal Studios somewhere. Maybe it's Japan. But they're building an entire themed land to Waterworld in a brand new park for a movie from 1995. It's amazing.
Well, hey, with the impending ice cap melting and all that, they need some, real life what if scenarios, I guess.
Yeah. And if that's not good enough for you guys, there's actually a movie opening up next week called Underwater.
Yeah.
And that's
I have no problems with water. I have no problems with earthquakes. This movie makes me really, really nervous.
Why?
Because there's just the idea of being an earthquake at the bottom of the ocean and then having no way to get out is just like, that is completely terrifying.
Yeah,
I've been through earthquakes, and I usually think they're pretty fun, but this is not fun.
Yeah, that's the pits right there.
Yes, it is.
So, Underwater is, this is from Wikipedia, of course, 2020 American science fiction horror film directed by William Ebank. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I might be wrong. Written by Brian Duffield and Adam Kozad. And again, I'm butchering these names. Please, I'm sorry. It stars, of course, Kristen Stewart from Twilight fame and a bunch of other folks. And it's about a crew of underwater researchers who must scramble to safety from ravenous creatures after an earthquake devastates their subterranean laboratory.
I had no idea this movie existed, but that actually sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not one for horror movies as much nowadays, but it looks like visually it looks interesting. So
yeah.
Now that we've listed all the underwater movies, why don't we list every movie that's taken place adjacent to water? We could start with any movie set in Miami, like Bad Boys, and go on from there.
Okay, Bad Boys. What else is there? Let's go. Cocoon. That's in Florida. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Ron Howard? Okay. Okay. Oh, dear Lord. And I must admit, my favorite movie dealing with the water, and this is not science fiction, it's Wes Anderson. It's The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, with Bill Murray starring.
Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
Willem Dafoe, a bunch of other movies. It's from 2004. I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan because I really like his style, his technique, and what he's trying to convey. and it's artsy fartsy, and that's just right up my alley. So, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
That is actually my favorite Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, it's mine too.
Yeah.
I actually have a picture of Bill Murray portraying Dr. Steve Zissou with his fine white beard, with his red toque. I have a picture of that above my my toilet in my bathroom. Okay.
Your toilet.
Okay.
I can't make this stuff up. Yeah, great.
This is more information than I
Wait,
really
that you're
think,
facing or behind you?
Yeah, just guess. Okay, whatever works for you. Yeah, I'll tweet a picture of that out, and you can decide. Okay. There's also been a couple of TV series. The main one that I remember seeing in real time was Sequest, or Sequest DSV. You guys know
I
that?
watched my dad.
Yeah,
worked
I
on it.
watched that show, but I don't remember it well.
My dad worked on this first season before they picked up the entire production and moved it to Florida.
Oh, wow. Yeah? That's
Yeah.
cool. I just remember it being kind of, I don't know, corny as hell and not great, and they went through different changes every season. So.
That's because the producer, Ed Roy Scheider, insisted on moving the entire production to Florida, which, sucked up a lot of their budget. And then Scheider had the balls to complain that they were basically doing what Star Trek does, but not in space. Like, dude, this is what you ended up with because you had they have no budget now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. It was a script.
Oh yeah, because wasn't the first season kind of realistic, and then in season 2 they started introducing mutant people and stuff?
Yeah. They actually had a science consultant on the show, Bob Ballard, who I got to meet because my dad was working on the show. And this was back when I was, thinking about becoming a marine biologist and stuff. And
like George Costanza.
Nah. No.
Oh dear Lord. Yeah. So let's see. Seacrest was a series created by, was it Rodney S. O'Bannon? And
also the creator of Farscape, and I think he was the original writer on Alien.
Yeah. So he's an American, and yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I know. In season 3, shut up, Derek. In season 3, Michael Ironside, who's an actor from Canada, which I quite liked, he was in it. So, yeah. So it lasted for 3 seasons, 57 episodes, and I'm not sure if it's still available, and I'm not sure if I want to spend 3 seasons of watching this ever again. But who knows? I'm sure it's interesting. Yeah.
There's also this brief 1-season show around 2005 called Surface, starring Lake Bell, and it was about them oh god, I can't remember anymore. I think they discovered like undersea creatures that were sentient or something like that. But I actually enjoyed that show. It only ran for like half a season and then it got canceled, but that show was cool.
Okay.
Interesting thing about the dolphins in Sequest, they were so lifelike that apparently the crew was very concerned that the SPCA would come in and see them hanging from the ceiling and there would be a lawsuit.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because they had this contraption where they could actually communicate with the dolphins, right?
Right. But the animatronic dolphins were so lifelike that they looked like real dolphins hanging from the ceiling when they would store them. And it's just like, okay, there could be a problem here.
It could be. Yeah. Horrible.
Maybe just a problem.
So my understanding of Seacrest is kind of like a throwback to Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, which is a TV show even before my time, I must admit. It ran on ABC from 1964 to 68. It was very, very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I haven't actually seen it, but it looks quite interesting. And apparently it was the first time things like UFOs have been on TV, and it has this little, X-Files bent to it even before. This was in the 60s. So it's against the Soviets, but then they're introducing sea monsters and UFOs, and so that's actually quite neat. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the 60s were a fun time. I wish I was around. Yeah. There's also okay. So I think it started off with a movie, and then they spun the movie into a TV show. Right. And the show starred Richard Basehart and David Hedison.
Nice.
And there's that. But I'm just trying to think. I think that's basically their survey of underwater sea adventures. I think my own personal view is that you cannot never get as too many sea monsters. I'm all about the sea monsters. Right. I want sea monsters on my bottle of rum. So the Kraken. Yeah. But
okay.
Yes. But we're returning to our episode topic, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Right. How far is a league anyways?
League is three nautical miles.
Is that true? 3 miles? Yeah, there you
according to the trivia and IMDb, yes.
And a common misconception is when they say 20,000 leagues under the sea, they're not saying how deep they go. They're saying how far they travel whilst underwater.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. I did not know that. And overall, guys, what do you think of this movie?
I really liked it. I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't remember half of it. I mean, I remember Nemo. I remember Kurt Douglas. I remember Peter Lorre, which is just like amazing that they got him for this. And of course, I remember the giant squid. I don't remember the end where they go and try to blow up the island. But I just watched it again last night. And yeah, it holds up mostly. I mean,
it's in color.
Yeah,
it's in color.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. So the math comes out to if they traveled 20,000 leagues, they would circle the Earth 2.5 times.
Ah, good.
You're assuming they went in a straight line, though. I'm sure they squiggled a little bit.
Yeah, but that's the equivalent. 20,000 leagues is
okay.
86,000 miles.
Okay, I got my compass ruler.
Or 68,000 miles.
And my compass, all I need is a chart, okay? And I can figure it out.
Sure.
Yeah, I used to be a boater. I did a lot of sailing. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
True story.
Yeah. It is? Oh, cool.
Yeah. I actually spent a couple of years in the Naval Reserves, and I was in Sea Cadets as a kid. Yeah.
Oh.
So I've been to sea. Okay. Derek, what's your first impressions of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
I think I watched this a lot as a kid. It's one of those weird things where when I watched it now as an adult for the first time, I didn't know what was happening, and yet I was already familiar with everything that was happening. And the song, Whale of a Tale to Tell You Lad, a Whale, a Tale or Two, the moment he started singing that, I knew every word to the song, and I had no idea that it existed, and I just instantly knew the song. I was like, oh, I know that.
Yeah, so...
Now, question, were you watching it like Disney Channel or... cause
Disney Plus. Oh, you mean as a kid? I had no idea.
Were you watching it? Yeah, because I know they cut it down, I know they cut it down for public broadcast, and I think they cut some of it down when they aired it on Disney Channel. But I just don't remember what they cut out of it.
Yeah, I don't know how I watched things like this as a kid, because I have a lot of memories of watching Disney movies, but I don't know. I don't think we owned them. I must have been watching them on cable or something. But watching the movie as an adult, it's definitely of its time. It's very slow and drawn out. It's very slow paced. It's very episodic in nature. You'll kind of have this little adventure and this little adventure, and they're not really, contributing towards any kind of larger story. And another thing I've noticed watching these old 50s, 60s Disney movies is, it's very slow. There's no sense of momentum or rush or drama. They just kind of show up and have a little conversation, have a little scene, kind of like the opening of this movie. They have this long protracted scene on the docks where the guy is trying to recruit people. And then there's a long scene where the American government guy is trying to recruit the French scientists. That there's just you would never see that in a movie nowadays. Everything would be more rushed and frantic and dramatic.
Well, I think some of the underwater sequences were like reused for like World of Disney and stuff like that, or Magical World of Disney and stuff like that. So I remember seeing a lot of the other. Remember seeing a lot of the underwater shots on the like the Disney nature specials that would air on Disney Channel, and then I would watch, and then this was on Disney Channel all the bloody time, and there were just oh yeah, that looks familiar, and okay. But now there's a squid.
And I will say the production values held up very well even by modern standards. I mean, the shots of the Nautilus going underwater to ram people, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And the giant squid attack, I mean, yes, you can tell it's, like big things, but it does look pretty good. Now, the interesting about that is they actually reshot that entire sequence. The first time they shot it, it was at daytime in calm waters, and it looked horrible because it looked so fake and you could clearly see the wires. So they reshot it at night in a bad sea so that the poor lighting and the water and the waves would cover up all the, all the technical gaffes.
Yes.
And I think it looks pretty good.
It works.
Yes.
It works a lot better that way, yeah.
It doesn't suck. Yeah, we need more squids. Definitely more squids.
And they're so yummy too.
Yeah, I actually quite enjoy this movie. It's so iconic. I don't mind the earlier Disney films in terms of pacing, their live action stuff. I actually quite enjoy it because it's not rushed. You can digest things better that way. The music, I think, is an important element in this movie. Will of the time is that, but it's like anything. You listen to the music to figure out what's happening in the scene. And I really enjoy the different costumes, like Billy, the sailor who survived the shipwreck at the beginning by the docks, telling a story of woe, I should say. And Kirk Douglas, the fearless harpooner who's with who has two ladies in his arms, walking down the street, calling him out. Things like that.
Well, apparently Kirk Douglas asked for that and the fight scene because he, this is like the beginning of his career. He wanted to be able to market himself as a more macho actor.
Yeah, he's pretty macho in this movie.
Okay, yeah.
He has his shirt off like a third of the movie, right? So, so there's that.
By the way, did any of you catch the name of the slave colony?
No. What was the name of it?
Rurapente.
Oh, yeah.
I read that on the page, and I didn't remember hearing that in the movie.
Yeah. I was like, I heard that, like, what is a Klingon prison planet doing in the middle of the Pacific Ocean?
That's too funny. I love that. I must admit, my favorite part about this entire movie was the seal, Captain Nemo's pet. That apparently wasn't in the novel, but I like the seal.
No, but it's a Disney movie, and they have to add cute animals whenever they can.
Absolutely.
It was impressive that it was an actual live seal, though, and all the bits they were able to get him to do. Yeah,
well, apparently, the cast spent most of the time on set with mackerel stuffed in their pockets, so that they could feed Esmeralda, and everyone smelled like fish.
That's great. Yes, the seal has a name. The seal's name is Esmeralda?
Esmeralda.
Yes, who knew? Yeah, that's what I need. I need to get like a pet, maybe a seal. Yeah, that's allowed, right? That would work in Canada.
I don't know what the pet laws are like in Canada, but probably not allowed here.
Yeah. Probably named the seal Flipper, but okay. Seafood. Let's move on to that. Okay. I think some of the intellectual ideas from this movie is kind of cool, where they eat everything made from the sea. Technology is a source of strength, but it's also a source of terror. That they go scuba diving, right? I really love how they portray scuba diving. They look so mean and interesting and just so steampunk. And as a diver myself, like, this doesn't cut it. And I'm holding up like a mask and a snorkel. But if you have a full-blown, diving rig from like the 1860s, and it looks awesome. I could watch pictures of that.
Until your face mask fogs up because you keep breathing on it.
Yeah, and then you try to loot some treasure from some wreck and you get attacked by sharks. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently that shark was just dogged the film crew, and that was not planned.
What?
They left the footage in because it worked.
Oh wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the underwater shots?
Oh, they were gorgeous.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah. There's
For
also
for 1954, that they're gorgeous.
yeah, and I love the fact too that it takes place in the 1860s. You
Mhm.
can tell it'll take 4 months to hunt the thing down, and so then they can drop off the French professor and his assistant in Shanghai. Like
Mhm.
4 months from San Francisco. Sea
Well,
Fortress.
they're searching for the monster, and they're doing a grid search of the Pacific,
Yeah.
and that takes a while.
Yeah. I know. I like tales in the 19th century because nowadays, if it's not in real time, that people don't pay attention to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Treasure. All about the treasure hunt. I'm a big fan of treasure hunts. I haven't found any yet. I haven't caused any destruction or damage, but yeah. I love the line that they use it for ballast. Yeah. Gold for ballast. God.
That doesn't make any sense. But okay.
Yeah, did he wait? And yeah, I don't think just.
But
yeah.
Gold is heavy.
Yeah, it is heavy, but I mean the ship is already made of metal, which is heavy. Guess the concept of air pumps didn't occur, or I don't know.
I know. Well,
it's funny because they imply that the submarine is powered by nuclear power, but they have to use gold as a ballast.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
I know. Submarines use ballast because that's how you control when you're rising and when you're descending.
Yeah, but usually isn't that usually done with air pumps and stuff like that, like air tanks?
I think they take water into udders on the side of it to gain the weight and lower down, and then when they want to rise, they shoot the water out. I think.
Maybe I don't know.
Could be wrong.
Yeah. And I think the whole nuclear...
It just seems odd.
Yeah. And remember, this film's from 1954, so the whole nuclear power thing was very fresh in people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in the original novel, it wasn't nuclear power, it was electric power.
Yeah, shocking.
Which would have been the revolutionary concept of that time.
Right.
I actually read the original novel. It's one of the few 1800 books I've read.
All right.
Yeah.
The one thing that I thought was really cool that they didn't do in the movie, I don't think they did in the movie, is that they find the ruins of Atlantis. That's not in the movie, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought that was really cool because I love Atlantis. I'm a total sucker for anything that references it.
Well, I believe it's been a long time since I've read it, but I believe they also implied that there are like underwater channels that the Nautilus could take to just bypass going around continents. They could just go under them at some point.
Interesting. The hollow Earth theory from the movies.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah. I like how they. Go ahead, Dirk.
Another interesting thing about the book is that Jules Verne originally wrote Nemo as a Polish nobleman at war with Russia, but his editor made him take it out because France at the time was an ally of Russia and it was considered to be too controversial. So they basically edited out all the references of him being Polish, except for one that slipped through somehow. And then as they translated the book, they made it very obscure about, who this guy was or where he was from or who he was fighting against. It was unnamed nations. And then when he wrote the sequel to it, The Mysterious Island, he then changed it to that Nemo was actually of Indian descent and that he was Prince Dakkar from India and that he was at war with the British Empire, which of course was not an ally of France. So it was okay for him to write a book like that. And
that actually makes sense with the way they portrayed him in stuff like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where they made him look
in the comic
like
book
a
League of
Sikh.
Gentlemen, they make him Prince Dakar from India in line with the second novel.
Nice, very cool.
I like how this film actually opens with the whole blue curtain being raised, and then you see the narrative of the book itself. That's such an old-fashioned way of starting a film.
It's very of the time Disney.
Yeah, because Sleeping Beauty and Snow White, don't they both start that way?
Something like that. I think there are other like live action movies that Disney did from back then that do the kind of the same thing.
And Captain Nemo. Nemo doesn't sound like a Polish name to me, but who knows? Yeah. So,
well, Nemo is a reference to Homer's Odyssey, where I forget the name of the guy, but he's when he goes to the Cyclops Islands and the Cyclops is asking who he is, he just answers that he's no one. So the Cyclops thinks his name is now no one. I guess like Nemo is the Latin version of that or something.
I don't know.
I read it somewhere.
wow.
So yeah, like Nemo is actually his alias, meaning no one, that he is no longer a person of the world anymore.
Well, the big question is he a terrorist? What do you guys think? Unrestricted submarine warfare. Go for it. Okay.
Yeah, the book and the movie but do have an interesting political message, especially back when they actually said what countries they were from. But that, I mean, Verne was kind of low-key writing an anti-establishment novel about the evils of colonialism and imperialism. So it's an interesting thing to write all the way back in the 1860s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, of course, submarines were used in the American Civil War, but they were really used in the First World War. And that's one of the reasons why the Americans got into the First World War, is because of Germany's use of unrestricted warfare in the Lusitania. So, going after trade routes and merchant ships.
Well, we kind of had almost a submarine during the Civil War with the Monitor.
Yeah, that's right. So that's why they started to try to use this as a technology. They have like 2-man subs. Yeah. And, of course, there's squids. And so far, the U.S. government has not developed a monster squid yet. Just give it time.
Yet.
Yeah. That we know of course. Yeah.
Give them time.
Yeah.
They got to enlist Ozymandias for that.
Yes.
Nobody spoiled me on the HBO show. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
I have to get HBO.
It's okay. No, it takes place after. So yeah, we all know about the giant squid. Everyone knows about the giant squid.
Yeah. Well,
except who actually. Everyone who read. Well, everyone in the Watchmen series knows about the giant squid. And then if you've either read The Watchmen or watched the movie, you also know about the giant squid.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. The new.
But everyone in universe knows about the giant squid.
Sounds like a cool universe to live in. I digress. So madness. Captain Nemo, was he a genius or was he a madman?
All geniuses are madmen.
A little bit of both, and I don't know. So there were times when I almost felt like he was under the influence of like pressure sickness and stuff, because he there were times when it seemed like he was getting deep into the bends.
That's interesting. That's an interesting interpretation of it. I think it's the whole story that his wife and child is tortured to death. And that's his primary motivation.
That too.
But that's the fact you add a physical mechanism that affects the way the brain works. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But wouldn't that affect everyone on the ship? Because they've all been there as long as he has.
Yeah, and they were probably mad as well because they took orders.
Undersea pressure affects different people different ways depending on how they adjust to the changes in pressure.
Yeah, like only coffee went crazy in the abyss.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. Remind me never to go to deep depth. I think the furthest I've been scuba diving back in the day was like 100 feet. And that was enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've only snorkeled. I would never scuba. I just would never be able to trust that thing works. That if it somehow didn't break, then you'd be stuck down there.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't my tank I had to worry about. Apparently, it was just my weight belt falling off.
Yeah. Ouch. I went scuba diving again a couple months ago when I was down in the Caribbean, and the first time I've actually dove in salt water and clear visibility. It was amazing. I dove at Turks and Caicos.
Amazing.
So I did 2 dives over reefs about 60 feet down. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for my old body, yeah, I survived. I mean, and lived to tell the story. Yeah. Now that's a sea shanty. Well, any other thoughts about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
Go watch it. It's fun.
Derek?
Good movie.
Yeah. I just love the visuals of it and the design, the set design and the design of Nautilus, the submarine. Amazing.
Mm.
They're supposed to be making a remake, but it keeps getting delayed.
Mm.
Yeah. We'll see. Because you got to make it interesting, and you got to make it not into like a horror movie. It's going to be Disney, right? It can't be just aliens under the sea.
Well, the other problem
is Disney doing the remake, or is it someone? Is it someone
I think
else
it's
doing
Disney.
a version of it? Mm.
I think the other problem is, like, in this day and age, is a period piece in the 1800s really going to be that popular?
Yeah.
With the kids and their cell phones and their Tamagotchis and their Pokemon.
Well, there's pride.
Aren't you the youngest of us, Derek? How are you the one saying get off my lawn?
Oh, man.
None of us even have lawns.
All they care about today are these Beanie Babies and ugh.
Beanie
That's
Babies?
from the that's some 90s, Derek.
All right, let's shut our doors and let's submerge for until our next show because this episode's running about an hour long. And if anyone out there wants to join our Discord server, please do. Our invite for our Discord server is out there. There's basically different text rooms that we sometimes have conversations. We can also be found on different social media channels. We're on Twitter, which I do, and Instagram, which I do as well, but that's geared more towards food, restaurant-related stuff, and drink, of course. Mm. And we have our Facebook page. And despite that, I'm not a huge fan of Facebook. It is still part of our lives because it's massive. Derek does a Facebook page. Derek, you're doing a great job, man. Keep it up.
Why, thank you.
There you go. Our SciFi Twitter address is at SciFi Pubcast. You can email us at management@scifipubcast.space. Nice icon. Wow. This is a nice sweatshirt that Derek is actually pointing to, the logo. Yes, we were doing podcast and video, so audio and video. Who knew? Leave us a positive review on wherever you get your podcasts. That would help others in the community find our show. We're a community show. We're not trying to be professionals. We're not making any money of this. We just are chatting to have a good time and be part of different fandoms. Carrie, what's your Twitter address?
My Twitter handle is Carrie Blackfire42. That's Keri Blackfire42.
And Derek, what's yours?
I'm definitely not professional, and my Twitter is at DerekJBB.
And mine is at Joel_Welch, WELCH. It's closing time. Please make it home safe. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Yay. Bye.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Jea Rhea. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.